Hey guys, welcome to the Alerted Podcast, the first ever episode. And in this podcast, we're going to be talking all about movies, TV shows, VFX, pop culture, unicorns, whatever. It doesn't really matter. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. And I'm really excited and a bit nervous at the same time. Haven't done this before. I've always wanted to do a podcast though. And I'm super glad that I could have a really cool first guest on the show. And he's someone that I've known for a while and probably one of the first hit film YouTubers that I started watching when I got into hit film, but we'll talk about that later. For now, I'm going to introduce my first ever guest, Mr. Javert Valbarr.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Looking forward to this. I've never done anything like it before either. Took a lot of setup, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're both new to this type of stuff.
Yeah, I pretty much have all my equipment out right now. Lights, cameras, everything.
Yeah, I'm lit by these two huge lights, and there's another one over there. So I feel like I'm in Hollywood or something. My face is burning up, and I've got like
I know. I have every light on in my room right now.
Yeah. So what exact state are you like tuning in from? Like where in America? 'Cause I know you're in the USA, but like where exactly are you?
Yeah. So right now I'm in Arlington, Virginia. It's near DC. Most of the videos on my channel were made from Ohio, but I recently moved to Virginia. So, because of my dad's job, so that's where I'm at right now.
Isn't Jay from Hit Film Sensei? Isn't he also in Virginia? I think he is. I think I saw something about that.
I think he's Washington, the actual state, not DC.
That's the capital, though, isn't it? Washington.
No, Washington D.C. is the capital. Washington is the state on the other side of the country. Oh, see, I don't know anything about American about politics or like. Yeah, we talked about that too when I was in FX Home in England.
They also didn't understand
that too. Yeah,
you see, I might not understand, but I think I have a pretty good American accent. I think I do. Like,
I don't know if I've heard it.
You guys have. I know you see. I'm a diverse guy. I've got a lot of different. I can do one for each state. Like I can do Brooklyn, New York. I can do Texas because that's obviously the easiest one. Or I can do a standard one. I mean, what do you want to hear?
Let's just hear what you think is best. Which one?
Best? I think my Brooklyn one is the best.
Okay.
Oh no, maybe the the Brooklyn one. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, give me a line. Any line.
I'm from Brooklyn and I'm going to get a pizza for my family.
Okay, so at this point, my character's crossing the street. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he's walking and he's like, hey, I'm walking here. I'm gonna get a pizza for my family, man. It's the best one I can do. It's
sounds like
very stereotypical.
Joey from Friends. Yeah.
Can you do a South African accent?
Without insulting you, probably not. No, I am not good at accents. I've lived in 5 states, and every time I kind of asked, like, do I have an accent from wherever I previously lived, and they always tell me no. So I guess what you're hearing is just like pure American. I would guess. Well,
you do sound American. if I keep for my ears that's tuned. Okay, so basically how the program is going to work today is we're going to have a few questions that I've made, and these are questions that they aren't standard questions like what's your favorite color or questions that I ask on these boarding shows, unlike this one. These are questions that I want to be asked, so I'll ask Javert those questions, and he also has prepared some questions for me. So, so we're going to get into those. And there's also a few viewer questions. Now, I did ask the viewers to leave questions on my last audio Q&A episode, Q&A episode. So we're going to check out those questions. Most of those are filmmaking related. So the ones I have over here, I think we can jump right into them. Some I did tell you beforehand, but some I didn't because I wanted a genuine response without any thinking. So
yeah, that'll be fun.
We'll jump into one of the normal ones, and let me see. I'll pick one over here. A movie you regard to you as special, and why?
I would say probably the first movie I remember really liking was the first Star Wars, the Phantom Menace, which I know that the prequels are not regarded as good by most people, but when it came out, I was 3, and that was
that's understandable.
The coolest thing I had probably ever seen in my life, and I just remember watching it over and over again and just the lightsabers and the fights and everything were just so cool at that time. So that's probably the movie that I remember liking the most for such a long time.
The Phantom Menace, I have a very strange relationship with that film, because when I was younger, then like especially my dad and my uncle, they really used to one thing I would thank them for is they got me into movies. So I think that was probably also the first one they put on for me. I think maybe Return of the Jedi, but that one definitely was one that I used to like watching, especially that end fight scene with Darth Maul, because say what you want about the rest of the movie, but I think that still is one of the best fight scenes with lightsabers. But now, when I watched it now, I got the collection on Blu-ray, and when I watched it now, I couldn't stop myself from falling asleep halfway through that film.
It's not. It doesn't hold up now that I'm older. Lightsabers were kind of the first effect that I ever tried to do, visual effect.
Me too, yeah.
And
one of the first ones.
And I did it in paint, actually. I painted a blue, just a pole, and I composited that onto myself holding a stick. And it looked awful, and I still have it. But that was one of the first effects that I ever tried.
One day that image is going to surface, and it'll be doomsday when that surfaces.
It's on my channel somewhere. I used it in one of the intros for my old videos as a comparison between what I did then and now. So it's on there somewhere.
It's an old video. I don't think I've seen that one. But yeah, so I think for that film, like, I think that the majority of the movie doesn't really hold up, but I'm not one to like completely hate in the film. So that last fight scene, I think I really enjoyed the last fight scene. I think the worst. What do you think the worst prequel is of the Star Wars, or what do you think the worst Star Wars movie is?
Whenever it comes on TV, I would say the second one is probably the one where I like cringe the most. Just the dialogue and the effects and the green screen. It's just kind of just not all good at all. Yeah, so I'd probably say the second one.
Attack of the Clones. Oh,
yeah.
Also, Jar Jar Binks was in Phantom Menace, so we cannot talk about that. Let's just leave that for. Let's leave that. I can talk about Jar Jar Binks as an entire episode. We can do the Alerted Podcast Jar Jar Binks edition. That'll be an entire different podcast.
Yeah.
But moving on, I've got another question here. This one is something that I'm probably guilty of the most, and it's a television show that you enjoy so much, you basically shape and form your entire week around it. So no matter what you're doing the entire week, you know that no matter what happens, no matter what crap I go through, as long as on this particular day, I have this episode to watch. So it doesn't have to be that extreme, but something along those lines.
Right. I would probably say, I don't know if I form my week around it, but one of my favorite TV shows, probably my favorite, is Lost. And I first discovered it when I was probably 14, I think, and I've watched it numerous times over. So it's something that just kind of keeps coming up. I kind of forget about it for a few months, and then I'll see a clip on YouTube or something and think, I should watch Lost again. And it just keeps coming up.
I did try to watch Lost. I'm not sure, like, I did enjoy the first episode. I found it to be really interesting. And I don't know why I didn't continue, though. I actually should check that one out again. For me, I'm sure everybody on my channel knows, for me it's Suits. Have you watched Suits?
No, but I knew that, yeah.
Oh my god, you have to watch Suits. Like, if you don't watch Suits, it's something that after I watched the first season, I thought it was okay, and I just kept watching, and now I'm like so invested, I just can't stop watching. There's a certain type of invested. Like, do you watch The Walking Dead?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Do you watch The Walking Dead?
I wouldn't say it's my. I do, yeah. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I feel like the quality's kind of gone down a little bit, but I still watch it. Yes.
You see, that's an example of me being so invested after 8 seasons that I hate the show, but I keep watching it because
I don't like it that much anymore, but I still watch it every week.
It's like there's some. Do you notice? I don't. Maybe it's just me, but I find the way they edit the episodes is almost as like in like this presumptuous way to sort of like to make it feel like it's an Oscar movie or something, where they try and make you feel as if there's twists happening all the time, but
there
isn't really.
Yeah, people don't like when they do the artsy stuff. I've noticed, like the montages or the dream sequences or stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like when they do that.
Like. I still, my guilty pleasure is probably Negan. I still enjoy Negan. I don't know why. Just because Jeffrey Dean Morgan's such a good actor. But other than that show is an example of a show that I've watched so many seasons of it that I can't just stop suddenly. So yeah.
So yeah, going back to your question, one of the TV shows that I find influences the way I film is Hannibal on NBC. It ran for 3 seasons, and everything about it, just the lighting and the cinematography, the color grading, everything about it is just really artsy and appealing. So I try and look at that and I think, what can I do to kind of replicate that and incorporate it into what I do?
I saw you did in your advanced color grading tutorial, you mentioned the Hannibal color grading.
Yep.
Yeah. I think if I were to think of a show that does that for me, like that, there are certain movies where you watch it, especially as filmmakers, then when you watch it, you immediately want to make films after it. Like you wanna start doing that. And like some of the obvious choices are like, Netflix shows, because they obviously have a lot more effort that they put into it. Because they have, 13 seasons, 13 episodes per season. But if I'm thinking about like a network show, I'm not sure, maybe like I wouldn't say Suits, because Suits is very just style, there's not much style in it. Oh yes, one that I really enjoy, especially the style of it, is Gotham. Have you watched Gotham?
No, but I've seen the commercials. It does look very nice.
Yeah, that show. If you want to start watching it, skip the first season, because they didn't know what they were doing. And then when it came to the second season, it's like they branched off and they said, we're going to do like a comic book show. It's gritty, and the sound design, and it looks very analog, because they almost are in this middle timeline. There's no they're not in the 2017, but they're not in 1980. They're in their own timeline. Yeah. So they have like analog TVs and watches and cars and old vintage things, but then they have real modern guns. So it's very stylized, and even the way they color grade it also, it's almost like they just have fun with it. So that's one that I really enjoy with that. But otherwise, for shaping my week, it's definitely Suits. If I don't have Suits, it's on break right now and I'm barely surviving, so yeah. Another question is this one I'm really interested in: a TV show or movie, maybe one of each, that you feel is really overrated.
Movie overrated. I did not like Pulp Fiction at all. I didn't like. I've seen several of Tarantino's movies, and I didn't like them. So I don't want to say they're overrated, but I did not find them as good as everyone says they are. TV show, I'm not sure, because if I don't like a TV show, I wouldn't stick with it. So I only watch things that I really like.
But what would you think, like a TV show that everybody talks about, but you just don't see it. You don't see it. You don't see yourself ever watching it, or you've tried it, but you think it's not worth it.
What came to my head, I don't see myself ever watching Orange is the New Black. It does not look interesting to me at all. Or
me too.
Maybe Mad Men. It looks boring. I haven't seen it, so I can't speak to it. But I agree. Watching
I agree with those two. Like every time I search up a list or something when I'm really bored, like TV shows to binge or something, we've all done it, and I see Mad Men at the top of that list, and something it just doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah, but I find it. Yeah.
I also think about Pulp Fiction. I've seen a bit of Pulp Fiction, and I mean I like my favorite Tarantino movie is Django Unchained. I love that one.
Mm-mm.
Have you not seen that one?
Mm-mm. No.
That one is it's. I think. What's your favorite Tarantino film then?
I wouldn't say I had a favorite. I would say I have one that
you like,
dislike the least.
Oh,
probably Kill Bill.
Oh, Okay, I haven't seen that one.
I've seen the first one of Kill Bill. I saw Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, and I think that's it. There might have been another one.
Oh yeah. I know that we share a common love for 24. I know we talked about this before, but 24 is like a common thing between us, so we both love 24. I feel 24 is underrated. Like, I don't think enough people. I mean, I'm stating right here above my shelf. I have every single season of 24, the Jack Bauer ones. I just, I love it. I can't. It's
it probably, is pretty good. Yeah.
It's have you seen Kiefer Sutherland's new show, Designated Survivor?
No.
That one.
How's that doing? Is that good?
No, it's not that good. It's it's almost like they just don't know what they're doing. Really, I'm sure they'll find their footing at one stage, but I'm just watching it for him because he can carry anything. But I feel like 24 is underrated, and I hear that the Legacy one, the reboot, that got cancelled also, and they're trying to reboot it again now. So it's almost like.
Did you see? Did you see Legacy?
Yeah. Yeah, after you recommended it, then I watched it, and I was only watching it every week because it's, as you said it's in that you said it still felt like 24, and it did. It had the same sort of writing, the same sort of I could still predict what was happening because it's 24, but that also got cancelled now, so that's that's a pity. It's almost like they were trying, and you gotta give them credit for trying, but when Jack left, it was going down. It was he was like the anchor of that show.
So we'll see what they do with the new other reboot.
Yeah, I don't.
If that continues.
Although I do think that Legacy had a strong lead actor. I did like what he was doing with the role.
Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he's going places, that actor. Okay, so the last question from my questions, or actually before we have the last question, why don't we do one of your questions? You can ask me a question.
Yeah, sure. So what is your favorite and least favorite part of either filmmaking or tutorial making? They're kind of two different things. I'm just wondering what you like and don't like either of them.
That's a good question. So tutorial making and filmmaking is sort of like, they're almost the same, but not the same. So I would say, I mean, I love editing, but sometimes the editing can feel like it's a mountain when it comes to tutorials, especially when it comes to editing the screen capture. For some reason, I don't really enjoy that as much. The stand-up section, I enjoy that, but the I mean, I don't hate it, but it's just I don't find it as I don't find as much enjoyment as I find the other processes. Like, I love recording it and writing it and stuff like that. When it comes to filmmaking, the best part about filmmaking, I think, is the before you start the film, when you're writing and you're getting all the dates organized, your cast, your crew, your friends, like, all involved. I think that's the best time, because every time before I go to sleep, I've talked about this in the video before, then I like imagine the entire film in my head playing out, and that's the best version of the film.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's like the best version of the film before it happens. And my least favorite part about filmmaking, as in making short films or something, is I don't think it's the editing, because I enjoy the editing of that part, but it's probably the burnout I have at the end, because it's normally like I've normally poured all of my ideas, all of my, I don't know, time, everything into this one project, and at the end I'm either really satisfied or I'm in the middle with a project, and then you're just burnt out for a few months until you can, like, unless you have a really, really cool idea, then you gotta just keep watching movies and TV shows until you can, like, get back onto it. But, like, what do you think is your, like, favorite part or least favorite part?
I don't make many films. Most of the things that I make go into the tutorials.
Yeah.
So I would say that my least favorite part of the whole process is probably writing the script, because when I do an effect and then I write the script, I pretty much have to do the effect over again as I write the script, so that I don't miss any steps. And it's just kind of a pain to do, because you have to do it for every single effect, and if it's a big one, then it's a lot of work to have to do that. My favorite part is, besides doing the visual effects, I would probably say probably the day after you first upload it, because then you're getting all the comments and the likes, and you're getting the instant feedback.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to put it out there and see what people have to say about it.
Yeah. I get what you're saying about the writing, but I have to admit something here. once I do the effect on the sketch or something, the example that I showed in the episode, I don't go and recreate it again. I just I just try and remember what I did and I write it down.
Yeah.
And then, cause I'm too lazy, I can't be asked to go back and do the effect again. Like, props to you. You have a lot of you're not lazy like me. You should go and redo it. So, and then like sometimes, most of the time it works, but a lot of the time, sometimes I'll find like I missed something completely, and it's a huge part. So then I'll have to go and re-record that, and that's a bit of a pain. But most of the times it just works out. I don't know. I'm lazy.
That's good. Yeah.
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 So my last question that I have over here is the last movie or TV show, if you want, that you watched at the theater or at home.
The last movie I watched at the theater was probably Wonder Woman, which was a while ago. So
yeah, a while
the last
ago.
TV show was definitely Stranger Things. I finished that probably just a couple days ago.
I finished it the next day after it came out.
Yeah.
Which is probably not that good, but...
Yeah. I wanted to take it slow, but then I did get spoiled on one important event.
That sucks.
So that's what
so don't worry, anybody who's watching it, watching the podcast or listening, that if you haven't seen Stranger Things, we're not going to spoil anything, or at least we'll try not to spoil anything. But that's one of those shows also that when you watch it, I feel like there's inspired to make films, because the way they like. Sure, they do have a lot of nostalgia involved in that show, and I understand a lot of people will like recognize a lot of things. I mean, I recognize a lot of things, but the way they write those shows, it's almost like they do the same thing. They did the same thing in season 2 as they did in season 1, but it was completely different at the same time. Mm-hmm. And for me, Dustin steals the show every time. He's just. I think my favorite character has to be Steve. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you feel the same, or?
I liked him a lot more in season 2. We can't exactly say why, but he's grown as a character.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, in season 1, he was like this like he was just like the cool dude, the typical cool dude, but he was just like mean to everybody, and he was just not a nice guy. And now it feels almost like he's like the big brother or something. Like,
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know. Yeah, but so I really enjoyed that show as well. So that was actually the last thing I've seen. I've been trying to go to watch Thor, but they're only playing it in 3D, and I refuse to play for a 3D movie nowadays.
Yeah, I don't like 3D.
Yeah. And I still haven't seen Kingsman 2, and I still want to watch that.
That's the last movie I saw.
Last thing... Oh, did you see it?
That's the last movie I saw in theaters, yeah. Mm-hmm.
How was it? Without spoilers.
It was good. It was, I liked it. It was still a bit outlandish in terms of the technology and stuff that they have in there, stylized gadgets and weapons and stuff. But it was interesting. The best part. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they just, again, with that movie, they also just have fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
But
that's what it was.
How many more questions do you have for me?
One that I can remember is, let me see. Let me pull it up real quick. Are there any movies or TV shows or YouTube videos, I don't know, that you feel inspired you to start visual effects, or like filmmaking, or like it kind of jump-started your interest in the whole process?
Yeah, well, this is actually like an interesting story, because I don't know if I've said this before, but when it comes to filmmaking in general, a lot of people like they reference like Star Wars or Blade Runner or something like that has like really good visual effects and filmmaking involved that started them. But for me, it was actually like I was in 8th grade and we had to do a 2-minute silent film project. It's quite boring. But so I started, I had some crazy idea. It's not on the internet, nor will it ever be on the internet, because I'd be too embarrassed to show that. But that's probably my first film. So after that, I remember I was editing it on Windows Movie Maker, and I never knew anything about filmmaking. I never knew anything about, I didn't even think about editing at that stage. It was just, I was thinking, oh, it's PowerPoint for videos. So I was I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
But I had my one of my friends next to me. He was part of the project, and I was just piecing together this edit in Windows Movie Maker. And at the end, when I played it, I had some silly music in the background. And when I played it, for some reason, everything just it clicked, and it felt like, hey, this makes sense. I don't know, it just clicked. And
Yeah, just
I
watching it
thought
come
after
together.
that, yeah, it's just almost like all the puzzle pieces, like when you put that last piece in and it just makes the entire puzzle. So after that, I started making these movies with my brothers, and it was just these small things that weren't really good, but they were like the stepping stones for me. And then if you move along a few years after that, and I was starting to get into visual effects. I used to always watch Film Riot's videos, and I still do. But in those videos, then I used to love the sketches aspect of their videos. But when it comes to the editing aspects, I used to just skip past it because I never really cared much for it. But then Hitfilm 3 Express came out. And that was the first time where I thought, hey, I could actually do something with this. So I downloaded it and I did my first ever lightsaber effect, which is also probably everybody's first effect when it comes to lightsabers.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So I did that. It was horrible, terrible, but that was my first ever visual effect. And then I started watching a lot of more tutorials. And I started forcing myself to actually watch the boring, complicated segments of all the, I was used to watch Grant's videos from Lone Archer Films. I used to watch his videos, and I used to just skip past the editing and watch his sketches as well. But then I started watching it, and after a while, I sort of came to grips with After Effects, and I realized that they are very similar, After Effects and Hitfilm. Like they work sort of in the same ways. And that's probably what inspired me to start. And then it came to a stage where I thought I'd learned enough, and I thought that I also want to start teaching people. And now we have Red's Effects. For better or worse. So that's my story when it comes to that. What did inspire you?
I was probably 12, maybe 13, and I was on YouTube, and I saw a fan-made lightsaber fight video. So it's lightsabers again, but it was just a couple of teenagers who were fighting with sticks, and they had the lightsaber effects and everything. But what stuck out to me was that they were teenagers and that they could do these kinds of effects. So I looked at it and I was like, I want to do that too. And that's what kind of started my path to learn how to do these things and how to get into the visual effects of everything. The reason I stuck with Hitfilm was because the After Effects demo timed out after 30 days. So you couldn't use it anymore.
That's the saddest moment when it times out.
Yeah.
We've all been there. I've tried that also, yeah.
Yeah, and the only restriction with Hitfilm was that you could upload to YouTube in 480p. That was the only restriction with the demo. So I stuck with it.
So you could have the demo as long as you wanted?
Yep, exactly. I could learn it and explore and keep using it.
That was cool. I didn't know about that. So yeah, that's everybody traces back to Star Wars. I've realized.
Pretty much.
Star Wars started everything.
Yeah.
So that's probably how it started. I have no more questions here, and I think we are running a bit over time here. So
yeah,
I think
we're at 30 something minutes.
Yeah. So the viewer questions, actually no one actually left specific questions for me and you on the podcast because I forgot to mention it in the update vlog. So I left a comment, but no one really responded to that. So for the next podcast, whoever's on, guys, definitely leave questions down below with the hashtag alerted. Hashtag alerted. Yeah, I love my hashtags. But leave questions down below. And you can even tweet Javert. I'll have his Twitter handle on screen right now as well as me. And ask him questions, ask me questions. We're always down to help. But thank you, Javert, for being on the podcast.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
Sure, thanks for having me.
A lot of fun.
Yes.
And hope you guys have enjoyed it. But until the next podcast, from me, that is a goodbye. Javert, if you have anything else you want to say, anything you want to plug, maybe?
Pretty much no. If you have any questions about Hitfilm, I work for them, if you didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a big shot over at Hitfilm now, yeah.
Other than that, just keep practicing, keep making visual effects, and you'll get better with every project.
You will. That is true. Sound advice. Okay, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and we will both see you on Twitter, on YouTube, anywhere else. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day or your night. We'll see you next time.